morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face your day. Yeah? For me, I'm really, really excited and I'm looking forward to the conversation we are having today. Yeah? As it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Today we are shedding light on a silent struggle that many people live with behind smiles, success, and daily routines. High-functioning depression. It's the kind of pain that doesn't always scream for help. It whispers through exhaustion, emotional numbness, and weight of constantly keeping it together. You might know someone who always shows up, delivers, and smiles on cue, but inside they're just barely holding on. Or maybe that someone is you. Today, we are breaking the silence around the hidden reality. We'll be getting insights on what it feels like to look fine on the outside while battling storms within. So stay with us. This conversation may just help you understand yourself or someone you love a little better. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Younib and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own therapist will be able to help you out. Yeah. And remember, if you want to interact with us through our social media platforms or even ask questions, you can always do so through Instagram as Younib_TV, on Facebook Younib Media TV, and on there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Allow me to welcome the guest of the day. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're so excited to see you back on studio again.
Thank you.
Mutembei, it's been a minute.
It has been a while since I graced the screen.
It's been a minute, yeah. And we are really, really excited to see your faces and actually get to hear from you guys, yeah. So without further ado, I'd like you guys to introduce yourself, yeah? For that person who doesn't know who you are, what are we even doing here, yeah? So we'll start with you. Please look at the camera and tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mutembei Muthami. I'm a psychologist by profession, working with Psychosocial Support Center. And I'm happy to be here because it's not often that we get to grace your screens, and this has not been possible. This wouldn't have been possible if we weren't working with Younib TV. And I'm really quite excited to see what the conversation for the day holds.
Awesome. To my right.
Yes, thank you, Pesh. Good morning, viewers. My name is Beulah Njagi. I am a colleague of Mutembei from Psychosocial Support Center, PSC for short. And as he has said, we are really so excited to be working with Younib organization that has allowed us this chance to have this morning tea with you guys as we talk about these things that hurt a lot of us. Yeah.
So we are really, really excited to learn from you guys again. Yeah, so karibuni sana. As usual, feel at home. I don't think I'll have to be telling you this every single time, but I just want you guys to feel comfortable, yeah? Younib Breakfast Show is home to you guys.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
Yeah, so to start with the conversation, today we are talking about high-functioning depression, yeah? So what exactly is high-functioning depression? And how does it differ from the major depression?
All right. That's a very good question. High functioning depression refers to, I think simply put, it's the symptoms of depression, but the criteria that it doesn't meet is of affecting the levels of functionality. For a clinical diagnosis of depression, it needs to affect your functioning in at least two settings. So if you're talking, say, there's work, there's home, there's probably social life. For children, there's work, there's home, there's school, there's home, and there's a social life. So for a clinical diagnosis of, say, major depressive disorder or any other type of depression that falls under, the DSM-5 criteria, it needs to affect your functioning in at least two of these settings. But when we're talking about high functioning depression, the word actually helps us understand. So this person seems to be functioning in their settings but they are still battling those internal feelings, those internal thoughts, those internal emotions and the behaviors that come about with the symptoms of depression. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now that we've gotten to understand what the high functioning depression is all about, I'd like to know what are some of the signs and symptoms that somebody can say, okay, I might be having high functioning depression.
Okay, just as Beulah has very properly put it, you'll find that somebody suffering from high functioning depression is going to meet the criteria when it comes to them being depressed. So, but they are able to sustain their lifestyle. They're able to sustain their work patterns, their social patterns, and whatever it is that they may be showing up for in their entire lives. The difference now comes in is that in as much as, yes, you're able to handle all the workload that you have, you're able to meet deadlines, you're able to work a meeting, you're even able to show up to TV as a journalist or whoever it is. But then immediately you leave that, it feels like now you're taking a coat off or a jacket off. So you'll find that people, some of the signs are that people, you get enough rest, but you never feel rested. Like you're sleeping, you wake up tired. You're able to meet your deadlines, you're able to meet your whatever it is, your quota, but then at the end of the day, you're feeling very helpless. So everything around your life might look like it's going everybody looks like they're happy to be around you, your work, you're doing good in business, your social life, when it comes to like you dressing up, you dress up nice, you deliver your deadlines, but at the same time, you're feeling very helpless, you're feeling inadequate, you're feeling like you don't even belong where you are. It feels like whatever it is that you're doing, however it is that you show up to your social patterns, to your circles, it feels like you're putting up a facade. So there is also the introduction of imposter syndrome. So in a nutshell, it looks like everything that a really good high achiever would set out to be, but now with the feelings of hopelessness, the sadness, the chronic fatigue, the chronic stress, the burnout, but we don't get to see that.
Okay, interesting. I hope we are getting to understand more about high functioning depression, yeah? And we are going for a short break. But before that, I'd like to ask the question of the day. So today's question is, what words would you want to hear from a friend if they were worried about your mental health? I repeat, what words would you want to hear from a friend if they were worried about your mental health? Please let us know through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Let's take this short break and we'll be back with more concerning the conversation of the day and your feedback. welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show, and the conversation of the day today is high functioning depression. Yeah. And before the break, I had asked a question: what words would you want to hear from a friend if they were worried about your mental health? Yeah. And I'd like to just start by sampling some of the feedback. Someone says, "I'm here for you, no matter what. You don't have to go through this alone." Okay, interesting. Someone else says, "You don't have to pretend around me. I care about the real you, even on your hard days." Someone else says, "It's okay not to be okay. Can we talk about what's really going on?" Someone else says, "You're not a burden. You matter. Your feelings matter." Someone else says, "I've noticed you've been a little off lately. Do you want to talk or just sit together in silence?" And I know I have a lot, but allow me to sample the last one. And this one has really caught my eyes. "You've been strong for so long. It's okay to rest. I've got you." Yeah. So thank you so much for your feedback. And I feel like the reason why I chose this question of the day is because when we talk about high functioning depression, as our psychologists have told us, many people are hiding in the facade of life. Like on a daily basis, they look so okay. And you see, most times, maybe deep down, they want to hear from their friends. They want to know their friends got them, yeah? And it's very important to actually have people around them who can always remind them, okay, we see you, you are there, you matter, and we want to listen to you, yeah? That's why I asked this question. And from the feedback, I feel like it's something that many people out there are really struggling with, and they didn't know about it, yeah? So do you guys have any comment about the feedback I've gotten?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm really happy that those were really powerful words. What particularly stood out for me was that most of our viewers, they did not give promises to their friends, or they did not expect their friends to promise them stuff. Sometimes we tell people that, "Don't worry, you'll be okay." But unconsciously, what that does, it makes them now look forward for the time that they're being okay. And then if they're waiting for too long, they're like, "Kwani hii okay itafika lini?" But then, as opposed to telling somebody that, "I know this is very rough. Whatever it is that you're going through, it's very tough, but I'm here." So they know that by you telling them that means that they know that they'll be okay, and they have the support, but they don't have a timeline. So they're not too hard on themselves. So kudos to our viewers.
Okay, Beulah.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add after that.
Yeah.
I think just hearing that, it must feel like such a huge sigh of relief being told that. So I guess kudos to the viewers for, hopefully they got to hear those words that they needed to hear. Yeah. Hopefully they're the same ones to give those words out to others.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I love you said you don't have anything, but that was a strong word, right? You agree? Yeah, it was really strong because it's important for us to also be intentional people, to our friends also. Even as we can get even the idea from even our own viewers to be able to know when I can be able to say these words. If you've been struggling with getting to talk to someone and you don't have the exact words, these are the words, and you've reminded us about it. So asanteni sana for the feedback you've given us. Yeah. So Beulah, my next question is: do you think people out there who have high functioning depression are not aware that they do have it?
I think so. I believe so, because even as Mutembei was telling us about, the symptoms of it, they are very intrinsic things, right? And the thing that happens with depression, more so high functioning depression, is that there's a lot of pressure on self. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of judgment first from self to self. So these people who are, constantly feeling tired, or feeling like they're putting up a face, or they're feeling the imposter syndrome, or they're feeling like they can't hold on anymore, might actually be judging themselves for feeling that way, and, trying to set even higher expectations for themselves. Yeah. And so you go about trying to push yourself harder without understanding what is really happening. And I think that happens to a lot of people out here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. So my next question goes to Mutembei, and it's all about the causes. What really causes the high functioning depression?
I wouldn't want to be cancelled on mainstream media by saying that this is what causes it, but maybe I could shed some light on some of the causes that I feel lead there. Just as Beulah has said, sometimes you find that you're feeling a bit unfulfilled in life, so you set higher expectations. And then now you push yourself too much to do that. What you don't realize is that you're pushing yourself to achieve much more than you're trying to build onto something that is not even making you happy at the same in the first place. So what you're doing is you're unaendelea tu kuchimba shimo, thinking that if I put in much effort, if I work harder, if I push in extra hours, I'm gonna get extra money, and then I'm gonna pay my bills, and then I'm gonna live a good life. You're able to do that, but at the end of the day, you're still feeling very drained, you know? So you keep doing that, and then because now you're feeling too drained, because now you're able to pay your bills, you start comparing yourself to other people. Like, hey, but my colleagues usually go to Coast, so maybe now you start other gigs, you start a business because everybody's starting a business, you know? So basically what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of comparison. You look at somebody's life, you want that, so you push yourself harder. You push yourself even to do things that you don't want to do, and then it makes you sad. And then now you feel guilty because you're sad because you're chasing the money. So now you want to go out on a vacation to treat yourself. You go, you spend the money. Now you're feeling guilty because you don't have money. So now you go back to the work. You push yourself harder. You know, so at the root of it all, we find that there's a lot of social comparison, because and then is at the root of it all, you'll find that there's a lot of social comparison. There's a lot of high expectations that we've set for ourselves, and there's the need, and this is very important. There's the need to feel like you've earned your rest. So sometimes we feel like, oh, you know, I work Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, and then I go to church on Sunday. I do this. If I haven't finished my work, I can't rest. So you find that you're constantly pushing yourself to the point where, yes, everything is achieved, but at the same time, you don't have time for self-care, because all your care, all you're really, really looking at is the outcomes, is the results, is the workload that you needs to be put out, but not you as a person. So basically, in a nutshell, to wrap it up, I would say in my opinion, that one of the major causes for high-functioning depression is not prioritizing yourself, not being in tune with yourself and asking yourself, where am I and what am I feeling? Maybe Beulah could have something to add.
Yeah, I do like what you have said. It talks a lot about the expectations that we have. I think I'd also say being in a state where you are in chronic stress, or prolonged burnout. So it starts as ulikuwa umechoka, and because you don't attend to that, it actually develops into symptoms of depression eventually. Sometimes you also have people who go through trauma or loss, and you don't process that correctly, and you try and wear that mask every day and say, tunasonga nayo. And sometimes it will develop into those symptoms of depression. I think it's also important to look at, of late, there have been a lot of conversations on firstborns. Dear firstborns. And I wonder whether it should also be a conversation to have. But sometimes being neglected as a child, and neglect does not mean that uliwachwa. Neglect could be you're the one constantly being told, ebu chunga your siblings, ebu, you know you're the big one, ebu si kule food ya mtoto, ebu si. And so you're not being allowed to actually be a child, and you grow up without having been a child. And there are all these expectations that are also placed on you by your parents, by society, because you are the firstborn, or because you used to be number one in class, or because, for whatever reason. Yeah. And so because you never get to process, you get, your validation now comes from those roles that you play. And so you find that you become very good at playing those roles, but inside you're very empty, you're very hopeless, you're probably feeling guilt and shame because you don't even like those roles. And then now you don't like that you don't like those roles. And it becomes now that exhausting, vicious cycle that Mutembei was describing.
Yeah. Interesting. I hope you're getting to learn more about high-functioning depression, because I feel like, again, it's something that most of us tumekuwa tukidhani faking it until we make it. Yeah, like I am doing this because I feel tired, but it's the road, it's the path for me to become successful. So you have to be doing that to keep a lot of pressure on yourself. Yeah. So I want us to just think about this and think about whether we've been hard to ourselves. Yeah. So with that, I want us to take a short break, and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Your Ashen and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be there to help you out. Yeah. So coming back to the conversation, I've heard you guys saying pressure and all that, and also the people wearing a facade of them being there, smiling every time. They have emotional burden, but they won't tell anybody. They'll be the people who seem like they figure everything out. The so-called mentors that people look up for or look up to. Yeah. So what does really burnout or what role does burnout play when it comes to high functioning depression?
Okay. I'm pretty sure we all understand what burnout is, but just to shed some light, burnout is when you've been tired for so long, you've been under so much stress, umefika mahali umesema simamisha. Yeah. So you'll find that especially in some careers, especially the ones in the service industry, that's us psychologists, that's the healthcare, that's the doctors, the lawyers, the judges. There are certain careers or certain roles in society where you're supposed to show up or you're supposed to present yourself in a certain way. Socially, it would be very unorthodox if you had that, that doctor is depressed or that psychologist is also depressed, because society has expectations for certain roles in society. So you'll find that if you're constantly showing up for society or showing up for your clients, showing up for your workspace in the way that society dictates that you're supposed to show up, at one point utachoka. And now ukianza kuchoka, utasema tu umechoka, I need to go on a 3 years sabbatical to figure out how I'm going to restructure. So you'll find that the constant burnout also now has you questioning who you are as a person. It has you questioning your abilities, because if I'm really good at my job, then why am I tired? If I am really good at my skills, if I really have confidence in my skills, then why am I unable to wake up out of bed? So the burnout has you questioning, who am I as a person? Am I competent? Am I sufficient? So what started out as you just feeling tired and you wanted to take a rest now spirals into you questioning everything that you stand for. And then now that leads to you questioning your output. You go on a whole spiral. You don't even want to work anymore. You start now feeling resentment for the job. And then now all that spirals into now the high functioning depression, because you don't want to leave your job. It pays your bills, but you're not feeling satisfied at the workplace.
Interesting. Yeah, so we've gotten to understand how burnout really affects somebody with struggling with high functioning depression. Yeah. So, Beulah, how will somebody know or start to notice that this is what I am going through, or I am going through high functioning depression?
Yeah. Okay. So when we've talked about the feeling of chronic fatigue, right? It's very normal to feel tired. We all do. But if you actually do take time to rest and then you still feel the same way, we may want to start questioning. If your thoughts are constantly, what Mutembei has just described, your thoughts are constantly, negative about yourself, about your experiences, about what you're doing. If that script is always in the negative, in the I am not enough, or this is not enough, or there's a lot of guilt about, whatever, could even be about guilt about the rest, then we probably need to also start questioning a bit more. With high functioning depression, the suicidal thoughts may not come as, I want to actually take my life, but it often comes as, I wish I could just disappear, or I wish dunia isimame tu kidogo, nishuke tu kidogo, or I wish I could stay in bed for a whole week and no one notices, no one looks for me. So if you begin to notice that you're kind of wishing to detach from the world, from reality, from life, then we probably need to start asking a bit more questions. If there is no interest or no joy in anything, even the things that you used to do that, help you feel better, when we talk about the self-care activities, if they're not bringing any joy anymore, then we probably need to check in a bit. When we look at the social aspect, if we are, again, there's that feeling of wanting to withdraw, there's a lot of irritability, or even notice that your tolerance for people, imeshuka, and used to be like the life of the party, so to say, and now you're just like, 1 hour with other people. You need to brace yourself and say, I need to show up, because that's what high functioning depression does. It shows up regardless, right? But that feeling of emptiness, or I don't want to be here, and so you notice even your mood is changing, then there's probably more to it. And of course, we cannot talk about anything mental health without talking about changes in sleep, changes in eating patterns, changes in moods. Then we probably need to ask ourselves a few more questions.
Okay. Now, Mutembei, if somebody has started asking themselves the questions that Beulah has said, and then they're like, hey, this one is a tick. The more she's going on, the more I'm seeing I am relating to this. Yeah. What should somebody do?
Okay. I feel like that the first step is the awareness. So it's I would suggest coming up with a journal where you track your moods, you track your appetite, you track your sleep patterns, so that just so that you, even when you go to talk to a professional, you're also aware of, maybe whenever this happens during the day, or whenever this event happens, I am not, my mood changes to the negative, or my mood changes to the positive. I'm not able to eat, I'm not able to sleep. Once you're able to track your the sleep, the mood, and your appetite, you're better aware. You're more aware of who you are as a person. And then now, of course, and this is why we're here, is to bring this awareness and to bring these lessons. The next step would be to talk to a professional, because sometimes we feel like just because I know, I can fix it. But sometimes talking to somebody else, they can act as a sounding board. It could be, yes, that you're not eating well, or you're not sleeping well, or your mood keeps fluctuating, and then now you think you have high functioning depression, but maybe you're just facing a lot of stress from work, or maybe something, a traumatic experience happened, and this is how you're coping. So I would really advise us to talk to a professional, so that we don't self-diagnose, and then now we start spiraling and losing control of a situation that we could have handled.
Okay, interesting. I hope you've gotten to understand. And again, we usually keep on repeating it here. It's not good for you to self-diagnose. It's important for you to just seek professional help. And if you say it is expensive, we offer it here for free. So you just have to call the number 0700-352-250, and we'll have therapists will be able to help you out. Yeah. So with the least time possible. Yeah. I'd like you guys to give a word of advice to somebody who is feeling like, and yeah, I've been having this sort of whatever you guys have been naming here, I've been feeling it. Yeah. And I don't know how I can be able to tell a friend. I don't know how I can be able to seek help. Please give them a word of advice.
All right. I feel like I would like to borrow, the words that our viewers gave us from what you read, and just to commend that person for being very strong. Probably when that happens, you're acting out of survival. You feel like there's no option but to be strong and to be stoic and to be that person. And that's commendable. But also to encourage you that it's not weakness when you decide to allow someone to help you carry that with them. Yeah. And so it would just be to encourage you to reach out. If you feel like maybe friends would judge you, or they'd not be able to reconcile, that strong person I know, and these things you're telling me, then seeking professional help, where we give you a judgment-free space, and we process, whatever is happening there, so that now you don't have to live off of survival, but you can actually live and thrive and enjoy being here in the moment.
Okay.
Okay. I love what Beulah has said. With high functioning depression, you feel like you're always on survival mode, and you get there because you've been on the go for so long. And I want to I want to encourage our viewers that it's okay to take a rest. It's okay to just slow down, sometimes sit down with your thoughts and do nothing, because rest is not always earned. It's okay to rest even when you feel like you've not earned it.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for coming and helping us be able to understand more about high functioning depression. I feel like now we've gotten more information about this specifically, and I hope our viewers have gotten the opportunity to get that kapush of to get help. Yeah. So asanteni sana, and it's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Likewise, thank you.
Okay. Anyway, I'd like to just send my gratitude to everyone who has made this show a success. Thank you so much, Elias Muchinda, for being our camera person and director. Asante sana for the good work. Our time keeper today has been Valentine. Asante sana for the work you've been doing behind the scene. And to you, our viewers, thank you so much for always tuning into Younib Breakfast Show, for sending your feedback, for always giving us the information that you feel makes our show much better. Asanteni sana. Until next time, do have yourselves a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.